Giannis Antetokounmpo, also known as the Greek Freak, a nickname that echoes throughout the league and gives some defenders nightmares even. Not only will we be talking about the two-time MVP, but we will also be talking about the 5 games that proved he simply wasn't human.
You're watching Hoop Harmony.
Giannis always obliterates the Pelicans, so it's only natural that he did it again. Giannis opens up the game with a monster dunk after receiving this pass from Jrue Holiday and forces the Pelicans coach to immediately call a timeout. They didn't know it at the time, but that timeout was simply delaying the inevitable. Have you ever seen a specific food that looks so good? Kinda like the way Shaq looks at a
barbecue chicken alert.
That's what Giannis saw when he looked at Giannis Vs that night. Barbecue chicken. And he was starving. He went at Giannis like there was no tomorrow. He was Euroing past him, going through him, going over him. It became really bad for the Pelicans, especially when Giannis realized he had a real shot of getting to 50 points. When he was at 44, he ran up the court and pulled up from 3, nothing but net. Only 20 seconds later, he called for a screen from Jrue Holiday, ran up the court, and splashed the 3 again. The Milwaukee crowd erupted. Giannis just hit the back-to-back 3s, and that last one had given him 50 points on the dot. Nobody could believe what they just saw. Giannis held his follow-through and walked down the court like the legend he is. We've all seen Giannis dominating during the regular season, but let's see how he performs when it matters most. Giannis and the Boston Celtics have had quite the rivalry, and it seems as if they genuinely don't like each other. This started back in 2018 when the two matched up against one another in their first playoff series. The Bucks lost that series to the Celtics, but came back the following year with a vengeance and absolutely dominated during the series. He capped it off with 2 crazy back-to-back games with 39 points, 16 rebounds, 4 assists, and then 20 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists in a blowout win. We then fast forward to 2022 where the two Goliaths meet again. A lot has happened since the last time they met back in 2019 playoffs. Giannis is now a much more accomplished player, and most importantly, he was fresh off of winning the finals, so you know he was determined to get back to the promised land. This Game 5 versus the Celtics not only proved that, but showed the killer instinct and pure determination he had to win and turn the series 3-2 in his favor. He went right at the Celtics defense time and time again, and he was relentless. He specifically kept going at Celtics player Al Horford, who was deemed the Giannis stopper. It almost seemed as if Giannis was trying to prove that Al was simply just one of the other guys in his way. Down the stretch of this game, the score was 99-105 with less than 2 minutes to go, and the Bucks have possession of the ball. Jrue Holiday did to be more specific. We witness him pass the ball out to Bobby Portis, who missed the 3, then see Wesley Matthews tap out the ball to the player at the top of the 3, and that player was Giannis. And surely he wasn't going to shoot this, right? He'd been shooting horribly from 3 this entire series, but this shot is why he works as hard as he does. Giannis catches the ball, shoots it, and sinks it. It is now a 3-point game, and the Celtics fans are freaking out. The camera then pans to Giannis, who is dripping blood from his eye. That's the part most forget to mention. He was elbowed the literal play before this by teammate Pat Connaughton. Yeah, regardless of literally being hit by an elbow full force, he walks up the court, patiently waits, and sinks the 3 as soon as he receives the ball. Tell me that's not a man amongst boys and you are simply lying to yourself. They wound up winning that game, and Giannis put up 40 points, 11 rebounds, and 3 assists on 59% shooting against a defense who was purely focused on him. Speaking of focused, in this next matchup, Giannis was focused to prove that he and his Bucks were better than the King and his Lakers. Jumping right into it, the last time that these two teams went at it, Giannis had absolutely annihilated the Anthony Davis-led Lakers with a 47-point performance. But this game, LeBron James was playing. Surely it would have been more of a battle, right? This game seemed more of a statement game than anything for Giannis. People were saying he couldn't beat the Lakers when LeBron was on the court, and Giannis was ready to prove everyone wrong, mainly Lakers fans. Giannis proceeded to absolutely dog-walk the Lakers from start to finish. It truly did not matter who was guarding him, whether it was Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Trevor Ariza, and the list goes on. And to make matters much worse for the Lakers and their fan base, they couldn't even claim that Giannis was only running and dunking, which is often a coping mechanism used by certain fan bases when it comes to Giannis, but they couldn't claim that because Giannis was absolutely splashing his 3s this game. Giannis with an efficient 3 is like an avatar mastering all elements. Throughout this game, he went at LeBron and Davis individually multiple times and did so successfully. He came out of this one with a W, great stat line, 44 points, 14 rebounds, and 8 assists, only 2 shy away from a 40-point triple-double, and lastly, a clean conscience, knowing that he finally overcame LeBron James and reminded everyone that he's better than Anthony Davis as well. LeBron and Anthony Davis weren't the only all-stars standing in the way of Giannis. Enter Giannis versus the Pacers. Heading into this one, Giannis and company had a couple of things on their mind, but the main thing was win by any means necessary. And it was pretty evident within the first couple minutes of the game, there are times where the Milwaukee fans just know it's about to go down. They turned the arena into this playoff-like atmosphere, and that's exactly what it felt like when the Bucks met the Pacers on December 13th, 2023. You got two of the top dogs in the East going at it, Giannis and Damian Lillard versus Tyrese Halliburton, who's the new kid on the block and running the show, fresh off of defeating the Celtics, who we know to be the Bucks' rivals. The last time these two teams met, Tyrese Halliburton had gotten too cocky and mocked Damian Lillard's Dame Time celebration. Little did he know that celebration would come back to bite him, as Damian Lillard foreshadowed right after the game in his presser.
Was what it was. I've also known that, you know, when you having your moment, it's important to be careful and to be humble when you having your moments, because you just never know how the tables turn and when they're going to turn.
Giannis started off the game with a rather fast 6 points, and he took it to the hole every time. Sometime during the first quarter, Tyrese Halliburton dunks on a teammate of Giannis and is absolutely jawing afterwards. Giannis sees this, and as Halliburton is running up the court, Giannis gives him a nice shoulder to the chest, which sends Halliburton to the ground immediately, and Hallie is shocked at what just happened. I think we all were at that moment in time. That moment set the tone for the rest of the game, and we knew it was personal between these two teams. Giannis proceeded to raw dog the Pacers and light them up for a whopping 64 points. His final stat line was 64 points, 14 rebounds, 4 steals, a 71% field goal percentage. Giannis showed a true display of dominance, and it's definitely up there for his best performance, up there with the next one versus the Suns, which is widely known as his best performance. Imagine having to go up against a man who just swept a playoff Jimmy Butler, clawed his way out of a 7-game series versus Kevin Durant, and in addition to these two immaculate feats, Giannis hyperextended his knee just 2 weeks prior to him playing in the finals. An injury like that ends careers, and this man was back within weeks. How did the Phoenix Suns expect to win against a man this determined? He had back-to-back games with 40 points and 10 rebounds, joining the company of LeBron and Shaquille O'Neal as the only men in NBA Finals history to do such a feat. He then had arguably the greatest block in not only Finals history, but NBA history as well. And that brings us to the final game of that series, which was Game 6 of the NBA Finals versus the Phoenix Suns. Giannis started off this game with a chase down and 2 points, Giannis going coast to coast to start off the best game of his life, foreshadowing the monster type of night the Greek Freak was on pace for. Sometime during the second quarter, Giannis had 19, while the rest of his team had 10 points combined. This was going to be an absolute carry job, and he took on the challenge. Giannis proceeded to tear up the Suns from the mid-range, the 3, and the paint especially. It didn't matter who was in front of him, they were simply just bodies in his way. In addition to this, he was blocking everything. This was the ultimate karma for Chris Paul and Devin Booker, who were downplaying Giannis and his greatness. Ironically, this game solidified Giannis' spot in the top 75 players of all time and pushed him ahead of Chris Paul all time. He ended the game with 50 points, 14 rebounds, and 5 blocks. After hearing all of this and getting a chance to watch Giannis dominate, how can you think he's human?